What are your beliefs on the death penalty?
Death penalty. Well, my view is that in certain very extreme cases, a mass murderer who there's no question what they did, they've admitted to the crime, someone like Osama bin Laden or Timothy McVeigh, somebody like that, I'm okay with the death penalty. If it's an extreme crime, mass murder, there's no question about guilt or innocence. The problem with the death penalty in America today is that's not how we apply it. George Bush, bless you, when he was governor of Texas, George Bush, what he did is there was a guy there, and his lawyer fell asleep during the trial. George Bush says he should still be executed. All right? There was another person there who was mentally ill. Execute him. In fact, conservatives today believe that even kids who commit crimes should be executed. Because let me tell you how justice works in America, and it's not a pretty fact. If you're rich, if you're O.J. Simpson, right, you can afford the best lawyers in the business, right? And then you can get off. If you're poor, your lawyer can fall asleep during the trial, and George Bush would still execute you. We do not have equal justice in America. Justice is supposed to be blind. They're supposed to have scales where we have equal justice, but we don't. If you're rich, you can kill someone, you get off scot-free. If you're poor, sorry, you get killed, whether you're innocent or not. In fact, we're finding out that a lot of people on death row were using DNA evidence to find out that actually they were innocent. So while I have no problems in theory with the death penalty, you know, Timothy McVeigh, no sympathy for him, I have a real problem with the practice in America. And until we have equal justice for all, I really hesitate to say, oh, I'm sorry, both of you committed the same crime, but you're poor, we're executing you, and you're rich, we're not. I mean, you look at a state like here, we are in Virginia, where they give so little money to lawyers that no intelligent lawyer, you know, who's not a true believer will take the case. We do not have equal justice in America, and until we do, I say the death penalty should be only for those very clear-cut cases.
Mention was made that the reason why capital punishment or death penalty doesn't work is because there is no equal justice. What would be done to have equal justice?
I strongly believe in equal justice for all. I think that's exactly what our Constitution is supposed to provide. If you're accused of a crime, the whole point of a judicial system is to give you the strongest case you have, the prosecutor, and in that battle of the best cases, a jury decides who's guilty. We don't have that now, right? Michael Jackson is getting all the legal attention he can get. But if you're poor, you'd be lucky to have a lawyer that well, knows the law and doesn't fall asleep. So yes, we have to provide more resources. I don't mind actually even requiring lawyers to do a certain amount. I am a lawyer. I went to Yale Law School, and I think it's perfectly fine to say to a lawyer, you have to give so much time, just like I have no problem saying to a doctor, you have to treat the poor. See, I would take this issue as part of a much larger issue. And this is really where liberals and conservatives disagree. Now, Chris says I'm not intellectually consistent. I throw the question back at him. All right, there isn't equal justice in America. There's also not equal access to health care. There's not equal access to education. If you're rich, you get a good education in America. If you're poor, you're lucky if your teacher knows how to spell words on the board right. And I know because I taught in an inner city school, because those teachers aren't paid enough. If you're rich, you can have access to some of the best health care in the world. If you're poor, you die. 10,000 Americans or so die a year. Some have said up to 18,000 because they don't have access to health care. See, the Republicans really care about that fetus all the way up until birth. And afterwards, it's on its own. In fact, the Bush budget cut health care for children. Cut it. Because we want to make those poor women, those poor teenage girls, 14 years old, they better have those babies. Government's taking over their body, making them have those babies, but once they're born, they're on their own. We're not going to help them with the kids. No way. We're not going to give them a decent education. We're not going to give them decent health care. I say let's care about the kids that are here. Let's not just look at death penalty and say we need equal justice. We need equal access to health care. No one should be starving in the richest country on earth, in America. And I'll tell you a little secret. There are thousands of babies every year that are put up for adoption that nobody wants. And the really dirty secret is most of them are black. And no one is taking those kids. And I say we have to provide for the kids here on earth. And I ask everyone here who is pro-life on abortion to commit to adopting 3 children before you tell another woman she has to take care of a baby that she doesn't want. Thank you.